east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is this child who has been born the King of the Jews? For we have observed his star in the east and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all of the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, 'And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel.'" Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road.
Epiphany, marking the end of the Christmas season. And as I said before, this Christmas season and Advent season were filled with these surprise visits, these unexpected encounters, with the main characters in the drama, with the shepherds, with Mary and Joseph, the innkeeper, and now the Magi. And by looking at this coming of the incarnate one, we can, I think, gain some insights into the nature of the divine human encounter. And so what are the signs of a genuine visit from a messenger of God? What should we look for? How should we prepare for a personal presence of the holy ourselves? Hearing the Christmas narrative, I believe, can help us to verify and anticipate an authentic experience of God from the common human experience in our lives. For these startling experiences of God's glory break into our world in ways that go beyond our wildest dreams. And so today I want to talk about the wisdom that comes with this experience, one of the marks of this authentic experience. In Proverbs, wisdom, or Sophia in the Greek, is a woman. "The Lord created me at the beginning of his work," she says. She was there when God made the heavens, the sea, the earth. This wisdom of God, holy wisdom, is more feminine than masculine. It has more to do with imagination and dreams than with cold, hard facts. In fact, as with the Magi, holy wisdom often comes to us in our dreams. One of the unexpected encounters of God's arrival is from this divine feminine wisdom. Wisdom is a matter not only of the mind, but of the intuition and of the heart. It says, "Her ways are ways of pleasantness," said Solomon. "And all her paths are peace." Coming to a certain awareness, being made, you could say, Christmas-wise, is a mark of a genuine God experience. True understanding and wisdom is more a matter of the heart than anything else. "You can't think straight with a heart full of fear," said William Sloane Coffin. "For fear seeks safety and not truth. A heart full of love, on the other hand, has a limbering effect on the mind. And so let's take a look at this last segment of the Christmas story today. It was during the Roman Empire, which in many ways was a continuation of Hellenization of the Greek Empire. And one could characterize it as a time of great intellectual openness. It was a time when ideas flowed freely across the Roman roads. No particular school of thought or religion held prominence. It was kind of this patchwork of ideas and belief. It was a time of great searching and of human effort to make a difference and to assert itself. And one of the ways that people tried to influence destiny was through magic. Often each individual decided which deities that they were going to call upon. And they often strung together these with mysterious phrases of unpronounceable verbal monstrosities. And they would adapt and mingle many different traditions together as they tried to manipulate the cosmic forces. Even the God of the Hebrews was mentioned in these incantations. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was invoked along with all of the others in a kind of a more is better mentality. Now, why am I going into this? Well, this is essentially what the Magi were. They were these magicians, sorcerers, enchanters. They were into everything, philosophy, astrology, every science of the day. They were a priestly caste, similar to the medicine man or the shaman. And Magi were not necessarily kings, although we have called them that, but they were often employed by the kings to serve on their courts and as advisors, or kind of like chiefs of staff. So in the Bible, Magi were not well spoken of. This is important to remember. In fact, the Jews were forbidden to have any contact with them. He who learns from a magus, or wise man, is worthy of death. What is the Hebrew teaching? Elsewhere, God promises to defeat the Magi, or the wise men, in Babylon's court. Through the prophet Isaiah, we hear, "I am the Lord who made all things, who frustrates the omens of liars and makes fools of the diviners, who turns wise men back and makes their knowledge foolish." So this makes it even more amazing that it was the unwelcome Magi who sought out and who saved Jesus. But these three wise men sought to be enlightened. It was not by just their own ability that they were able to seek the incarnate one. They had a star. They had a vague notion of which direction to travel, stopping to ask the questions and directions, ironically enough, from none other than Herod. "Hey, Herod, which way to the truth?" And it took them a dream to make the Magi truly Christmas-wise. There is much to admire about these three, that they are patient. It took them a really long time. They're willing to expend great effort to find God, to find the divine, even though it was like feeling their way in the dark. They were persistent. The teller of this story uses their gifts to foreshadow the encounter with the Christ. Gold, the typical tribute for a king. Incense, that which is burned and offered up to God. And myrrh, which is used to anoint the dead. And so they were looking for the divine and the direction of the crucified one. True wisdom goes beyond human effort. The wise men need to be taught that wisdom knows the limits of human knowledge. And instead of trying to manipulate and control the destiny of the cosmos, it is humble in the face of mystery. And while wisdom is humble in the face of mystery, in the tradition of the prophets, it also allows for stunning and audacious clarity, enabling people to speak with incredible certainty and conviction, putting their lives at stake. Jesus himself talked about this wisdom when he said, "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves." So, he said, be wise, have wisdom. Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. And this is what I submit to you this morning, what a true encounter with the divine does. It causes us to become both wise and innocent. We become aware that there are wolves and that the innocent ones are about to be destroyed. To be Christmas wise is to see through all of the nostalgia, all the sentimentality, all the lights and glitter, and to see the real and unmistakable evil in the world, evil which seeks to do violence to the child. There's another story in the Bible about the birth of Moses, which also called forth this slaughter of the innocents. And this was also another time when we come across this holy wisdom, which is to be alert and aware to violence. In that earlier story, Moses is saved again by foreign outsiders, the Egyptian midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, who disobeyed the state. They disobeyed the authorities. They lied, and they said that the Hebrew women gave birth to their children so quickly that they always got there too late. Divine wisdom blessed them with courage. And in the second story, Jesus is saved by the unlikely foreign magi who disobeyed Herod, showing great courage and conviction by leaving by a different way, it says, and not telling Herod the location of the baby. Being Christmas wise is to know that the good news has its enemies. It is to become aware of the hostility to the one who gave himself, loving the poor and the neglected, that there are those institutions and persons who have other plans for them. Becoming truly wise, like the Magi, moving from mere curiosity and inquiry to courage in action. They found themselves enlightened. They found themselves taking a stand for life over death. And this is what the divine encounter should do, is to hear the whisper, tell the wise men to be quiet about the child. Through the generations, one can trace many stories of those who became Christmas wise, who became aware of the pain and destruction of the innocents. Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad is one example. The new Underground Railroad from Central America escaping violence in their homeland. In the present day, the enslavement of over 1 million Uyghur people in China forced into labor. The men, women, and children of Yemen caught in a deadly crossfire of war, a proxy war between the United States and Russia, Syria and Iran. resulting in mass starvation and disease, continuing on to this day. The awareness in becoming wise to hunger and homelessness, mostly women and children, in every city in this nation. Like the artwork on the cover of your bulletins today, we can see them in tent cities. Tent cities in Los Angeles and Seattle, Chicago and New York, and up in Spokane, not that far from here. These encampments for the homeless that are being forcibly dispersed and destroyed by police upon orders from city governments. And so, with a divine human encounter comes wisdom. And the wise men gain a broader perspective and ability to connect the dots and to see the systemic violence and the systemic oppression in our land. The wise are able to see the big picture of the sisterhood and brotherhood of all, the solidarity with all humanity. And this wisdom brings an awareness of the enemies of compassion and justice, the heartless forces driven by greed and acquisition, and the institutional violence inflicted upon the weak and the powerless. In the starry light of God, we come to a new understanding. Evil becomes an unavoidable reality in our lives. And we find that we are involved up to our necks. And we hear the whisper, don't tell Pharaoh, don't cooperate with Herod, keep quiet about the child, resist, resist, resist. Amen.